one of the topics that you spent a lot of time on is Afghanistan. You've served, you've been to Afghanistan, you fought in Afghanistan. You have interviewed several people that have been a part of the withdrawal, that have been a part of kind of everything that's happened, I'm going to say in the last 2 years, 3 years since the withdrawal. And you've uncovered a lot of truths. Almost, I feel like you're the first person I heard talking about the fact that we're sending between 40 and 87 million dollars a week to the Taliban. And I don't think that even gets enough play.
It doesn't.
Well, I guess I want to start at the beginning then. What kind of spurred your journey into kind of picking away and uncovering truths about Afghanistan?
Well, I mean, it's personal for me too. You know, I mean, I was over there with both the SEAL teams and the agency. Don't hold the agency shit against me. But
because everyone says, "Oh, Shawn Ryan's from the agency. Like he's a psyop,
the mole." But
he's the mole. He's a psyop.
You can't be trusted. But I mean, I fought with those guys. You know, and so when people like we went in there to. We weren't at war with Afghanistan. I think there's still a lot of people that think we were at war with Afghanistan. No, we were at war in Afghanistan, but alongside with them. And so we had a partner force that we spent, 20 plus years training, fighting next to, bleeding next to. And, anybody that listens to my show, I mean, you hear like how hard guys like me have it with all that we experience when we come home, and post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injuries and all the other shit that goes on over there, Well, we come home after 6 months. Those guys, that's 20 plus years of war straight. They live there. We trained them. We bled with them. And the way we pulled out, I'm not saying we should never pull out of there, but the way we pulled out was, I mean, we abandoned those people, in a lot of different ways. And I mean, for example, like we left, everybody knows we all left all the equipment there. We turned over all the bases. I mean, Taliban now has all of our stuff. And it was like, well, why didn't the partner force just fight them off? Well, because the partner force was a very elite group of guys. And, I mean, their president abandoned them. The president abandoned them. Like, he snuck out. And this guy, Solly, took it over. But when we left there, I mean, there was no classified material destroyed. So we have paste, even my stuff's out in the open. I mean, I have former agency guys that are calling me up that are saying, hey, like, I just want you to know that they just took this base and none of the classified documents have been destroyed there, and your name and all kinds of other information may still be at that base. So I just want you to know that. And by the way, now Taliban's posing as resistance, our old partner force. They're posing as that on social media, hitting guys like me up, saying, hey, we were part of the partner force, come extract us. Well, now you have Taliban doing that. On top of, so even we left all the biometric information, we left the pay stub information, we left the rosters, we left everything. So now, like, here's an example. We used to have these cameras, right? And, we would go over there. We're working with hundreds of Afghan fighters at different various locations. It gets hard to tell, I don't care whatever insert ethnic group, if you're not part of that ethnic group, they all look the same. They're all wearing the exact same uniform. They're all of Afghan descent. And they all look very similar. So one of the ways we would ID them to make sure there wasn't some type of a plant inside there or Taliban, Al Qaeda, insert terrorist organization, put somebody in the ranks that we're not going to see that. So we would have like these cameras. You take a picture, it scans the retina. So every morning there would be a security force that would, as these guys come in for training or on base, they would be photographed, and the device would tell you, oh, yeah, this is him, this is him, this is him. Oh, that retina doesn't match. We don't know who this is. And we would also take these cameras on targets too, to take pictures of prisoners, of terrorists, and they go in the database. And so it's basically green go, red bad, right? Well, we left all that shit, man. And so now they can go door to door to door. Taliban can go door to door to door. You worked with the Americans. Take his daughters out back, rape them. Take his wife out, rape her, murder her. Have him watch. When we're done with this, kill him too. Yeah, that's what we did. That's what the United States did to our allies. We fucking abandoned them, and now all of that is happening. They're hunting these guys down door to door to door, raping their women, raping their daughters, and then killing them. They'll line them up in a line. I got videos of this stuff. It would be awesome if you inserted them, although it wouldn't, it'd get shut down. But people need to see that shit, and they need to know what we did, what we as a country did to those people. And it continues to happen every second.
Why? Why do we leave the situation that it is? I mean, maybe we don't know the exact answer, but you have some perspective. What do you think the reason behind that is?
I mean, it's speculation. I mean, it's not like I have a red line into Joe Biden and why did you do this? But, I mean, I think there's the incompetency, which we all see. We all know he's not, somebody's pulling the strings. I don't know who. You don't know who. Maybe you do. I don't think you do. But so maybe it was incompetence. I'm not really buying that. We all know Biden administration has several ties to China. China's pretty much leading the green initiative for the U.S. They manufacture all our solar panels. They manufacture all our wind turbines. They manufacture lithium batteries. Guess where one of the biggest deposits of lithium is in the world? Afghanistan. Why would we leave those resources there? Why would we leave those resources there when all you hear is this green initiative? Dude, I'm not even that against the green initiative. I mean, I would like a clean planet. I mean, look at all the cancers and shit, all these diseases that we have that are they're not even organic diseases. It's shit coming from plastics, from batteries, anyways, whatever. That's a whole nother subject. But, so maybe there was some backdoor deal done with the Chinese saying, hey, yeah, we'll leave. You take over Bagram. Oh, by the way, they have taken over Bagram. It's the most strategic air base in the Middle East. And now they run it. Now they're mining lithium right out of the ground in our where we occupied just to go back, make batteries, and sell it to us? I'm sorry, what the fuck is that? I thought we were hot on this green initiative shit. I thought green initiative was going to make us self-sufficient on the power grid. How the fuck are we self-sufficient if we're importing all of our batteries, all of our solar panels, all the wind turbines? I mean, even the regular power grid right now, we import the transformers.
If you could redo the Afghan withdrawal, how do you think you would have handled it?
I think I would have handled it in steps, in an actual plan, and not just, hey guys, we're going to pull the plug today. I mean, everybody knew it was going to happen. We're not going to be there forever. I think we should have left at least a couple of bases there, just like we did after World War II, all over Europe and Japan, right?
I mean, there are 40,000 troops still in Japan, 30,000 troops still in Korea.
Yeah.
Leave troops and bases behind all the time.
Like we leave no footprint in a territory that we occupied for over 20 years with one of the biggest lithium deposits in the fucking world. Sorry about my
I don't understand why they would do that. I mean, I get maybe China, but the resources have so much value.
I mean, there's also Taliban sympathizers within the U.S. government.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's how we're sending $40 to $87 million a week to the Taliban, as we have sympathizers within our government. It's very much like the cartel. I mean, they're a very sophisticated network. I mean, yeah, when you see them on the news, it's some guys wearing a man dress and flip-flops with an AK-47, and they basically look like they just walked out of a cave, because they did. But guess what? I mean, we were there for 20 years. They're sophisticated. It took us a minute to find bin Laden. We didn't win. Look at that. It was a total loss.
And who benefits?
And so what I'm saying is, just like the cartels, they start embedding in governments. They have an intelligence organization. I think it's called GDI. Is basically Taliban's version of CIA. They have propagandists. They have all of these different departments within the terrorist group.
In your interview with Ahmad Massoud, he said that the Taliban is generating something like $2.5 billion a year in revenue, not including their drug muling, not including maybe that's just on the books. They're doing $2.5 billion a year, and on top of that, we're sending. He said 70 million. He didn't like your 40 to 87 million.
Yeah, he said 70 to 80 million.
Yeah. They're very well funded.
Yeah, we're funding them. I mean, that's $1 billion of that is us.
That's wild. And that's American tax dollars. Most people have no idea. We just keep on funding all these wars. We keep on funding it. We leave them in worse condition than we find them almost every single time. I can't think of one war where we left the country better.
Me neither.
And you fought in the wars. And that's... How do you feel like veterans are dealing with that? Because up to maybe 5 or 10 years ago, I think most veterans thought what they did was the right thing to do. With technology and us having more information, a lot of people are like, damn, I can't believe I participated in that, which sucks. Yeah. Because you shouldn't have that feeling. I mean, people sacrifice their life, they risk their lives to fight for what they think is a greater cause. And then to come to the realization later on that, man, I don't know if we actually helped them.
Well, I don't think we helped them, and I don't think America had anybody's best interest but the military-industrial complex. But what I will say to anybody that did fight over there is, you did see what those terrorist organizations are capable of. They were cutting our heads off. They were dismembering us. And, were we on their turf? Absolutely. But what also happened, we also saw them do that to people in their own country. And so we also were able to give the Afghan people a glimpse of what freedom looks like. The women started going to school. Girls started going to school. Voting. I mean, before we went in there, it was under Taliban law, and you would get your head chopped off if you were playing pool. I'm not joking. Like, that's the kind of ship that they run. And so when women started going to universities, women could vote. Little girls started going to school. They started getting more sophisticated. They got a small taste of what freedom could actually be like. And they wouldn't have gotten that had we not been there. And so that gives the resistance that's still trying to fend off the Taliban, I mean, it gives them hope. They know what it could be if they eliminate the Taliban and take possession of the country again.
Your story of Afghanistan culminates at this big interview, which I listened to on the way here. Fascinating. Number one, he is extremely well-spoken. I was shocked. I didn't think he'd be as well-spoken, as articulate as maybe I envisioned in my mind. And I loved some of his ideas. The idea of shifting from the way that they have been doing it, feeling trapped in this valley, and adjusting the way that they're fighting. And the most important thing that I saw was that they were shifting to almost a propaganda war themselves. That they are trying to give people hope because otherwise people would quit and the people on their side would quit. And how do we get the messaging out that there is a chance that we are still fighting? Because the Taliban has their propaganda mechanism that's going on to the world, trying to tell people, we've won, you guys are screwed, there's nothing you guys can do about it. You know, like comply, shut up and comply. And they are working on the messaging part, which kind of brings me to this idea that we are no longer in, people are fighting, people are dying. But really, at the end of the day, everything is a war of information and propaganda, which I think you're a very big part of because you're trying to challenge narratives out there. But there's this huge shift between physical war and digital war. Where do you think that goes as far as maybe military and maybe other veterans or other soldiers currently out there that are training to fight in physical war? But I think at this point we know that war is digital.
Well, I think part of the reason that they're doing the digital war is they don't have the assets to conquer and hold. Do you know what I mean? And so they have to keep spreading hope because they need people to join the resistance, and that's happening. But when they don't have the ammunition, they don't have the firepower, they can gain ground, but then to hold that ground, it's impossible because they're outgunned because we gave the Taliban all of our assets. Do you know what I mean? And so I think if the playing field starts to level out a little bit, even if we just quit funding them with $1 billion a year, they'll start taking ground again.
Because when I hear that, and I was listening to it, I was like, man, a part of me said, man, we should help them. And then the other part's like, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty against funding other wars at this point.
Well, the funny thing is they're not asking for help. They're just asking, please just stop funding the enemy that you fought for 20 years. That's all they're asking. They're not asking for us to come back in and occupy. They're not asking for supplies. All they're asking is just keep your $1 billion a year. Go spend it somewhere else. Please don't fund the enemy anymore.
Because when I think about the Ukraine and Russian war, we are actively funding and supporting with immense funds, with immense resources, the Ukrainian side. Is that different than this situation where they want to fund where we funded and we fought in Afghanistan? How is that different? Because one would argue that we're still helping another country and that they are being taken over by a larger country. Where do you sit on the Russia-Ukraine war?
Oh, I think it's a money laundering scheme. I don't even follow it anymore because it's so absurd.
Because there are people in Ukraine that say, well, we're being oppressed and it's difficult and they're supposed to help us because you guys helped Afghanistan and you were there for 20 years. How can you not be here for 5 years? I mean, kind of get that. Not really. I don't think we should.
Not really. We went into Afghanistan because the World Trade Center got fucking hit by 2 planes and killed thousands of people. That's why we went in there. I don't know why we went into Ukraine.
I don't know.
That could have been a simple real estate transaction. Those people don't want to be a part of Ukraine. Putin wants them. How about you just pay them and take the land? And then maybe build some more infrastructure in your country. Because there obviously isn't much.